Hey guys, Joe Davi here. I have a Bagra army video for you today. It's got gameplay with kind of like an in-depth recording and explanation, followed by the deck profile, so I hope you guys enjoy. Alright you guys, so here we are with game, basically the one game that we have, Bagra Army versus Metal Garurumon X. I will caveat this and say that I did misplay for the swinging for game. I did not have three sources underneath Blastmon, so he would have had Blitz and Rush if I had the three sources, but because I didn't, that was actually an illegal move. That said, I was in a pretty good position anyway. I had two Digimon that could have won the game afterwards, but we'll just dive right into this. I just want to show you the lines of play that Bagra Army has and go into my deck profile. I did take this set 2-1, but this game was kind of like the game where you can see how having removal in Bagra Army could provide a lot of benefits, especially in the current meta. I also wanted to kind of showcase how rushy the deck could be overall. So shout out to Andy for testing with me on this. He goes into the Garurumon X, you know, does the thing, gets all the draws, and gets into the level 5. So this is the thing about Metal Garurumon, where you kind of get into your level 5, and if the level 5 survives and you're able to do things, great. But if you hit something in security and you don't survive, you're in trouble, right? So I hit the Gazimon here on the swing, gaining the memory off the 2-cost mat. Having a Tamer out is paramount, which is why I opted for the 2-cost mat, and I just let him do his thing. Luckily, he didn't really raise the Digimon and just stayed in the back because I didn't have removal at that time. But I run Buzzing Fist here to pick up certain cards, and Uamano is a Bagra Army trait, so I'm able to actually grab that off Buzzing Fist. I trash the rest of my cards, and Buzzing Fist effect actually allows me to take a Digimon, I think it with Bagra Army, from trash and place it underneath one of my Tamers. So that was a pretty solid play, and I think I just go into Troopmon here because I just want him to go into one memory, right? I don't want to give Metal Garurumon any reason to go up in the stack. I want him to get greedy. I want him to swing early and see if they can survive and chip and gain that momentum. So putting them to one memory is the best way to kind of get them to swing early, which is clearly shown here in Andy's next play, aka Gizmo Freak. But yeah guys, if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Unfortunately, this gameplay video ended with a unfortunate miscounting of sources under the Blastmon for game, but I hope this does showcase what the deck can do. So we hit Schwartz here. Obviously that deletes his only stack, so he's in pretty big trouble here with just a Cool Boy on the board and no Digimon in raising. Goes ahead to play the Garurumon. I trigger Troopmon to gain a memory, and Chumon's Inheritable will also gain me another memory, so I go to 5. Yeah, so I'm kind of just explaining because he was asking. So now I'm at a really good amount of memory, and I am in a really good position to just push. So Soundbird's gonna swing, trigger the when attacking effect to place a Digimon underneath one of my Tamers, and for that I draw 1, and then for you I can draw 1 and gain a memory when a Digimon is placed under that Amano specifically. So I'm now at 6 memory, which is really nice. I should have suspended the mat here to go to 7, but the Troopmon dies anyway on swing, which is fine, and he gets saved. So I go to 7. I did not have the Blastmon at this point, which is why I did not play it, and instead I opted for Tactimon. I did have a really sick play here because he only had Garurumon left basically on his board, so I felt that the Tactimon for 7 was the best play here because, well, you'll see. So Tacti for 7, add the sources, that's why he's a 7 cost and not a 13 because of Uamano's effect. I have to play 2 level 4 lower Digimon with Bagra Army in their traits, and they're both blocker until the end of Gizmo's next turn. So I trigger both Chumon, being able to grab the Chumon off the first one, and I whiff on the second one, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. And then now I use Deathclaw, so I put him to 1 memory, and he gets absolutely deleted. And with that, he has to rebuild with 1 memory, which is really hard. I'm in a very good spot here to just win the game, and which is pretty much what happens, apart from the fact that I miss counted the sources on the Blasphemon again. I'm really gonna hit myself up for this, so you guys don't have to in the comments. So he goes into Hammer Spark to 2, has to make a play. I think he just goes back up to a level 5. There's not much else you can do right now, at least. Oh, memory boost to 1. Okay. Oh, here is where I forgot that Chuchumon has a save, so he actually goes under U, and I gain the memory passing turn. Well, I should have gained the memory, but I didn't trigger it because I missed the target. Timing. I missed the timing, I think. So yeah, I hit the metal here. Unfortunate, because Takimon just ends up dead. And then I gain the memory off the mat. Chu, there we go. And then Chu survives. This threw me off, because I guess I expected Chu to die, and then I could just play Blast. But I ended up just playing the Blast here for 2, and then I totally missed that. So I apologize, viewers, but the deck profile is pretty sweet, so I hope you watch this second half of the video. And I take the match anyway, 2-1 in the end. Obviously it's probably a 1-1 because of this misplay, but you know. GG's. Alright, you guys, so we're diving into the deck right now. We're going to start off with the eggs very quickly. 1 copy of Tokomon and 4 copies of the Demimeramon. We love that. Best egg in the game. Draw 1, trash 1 on deletion. And Tokomon's really good because during your opponent's turn, when this card gets trashed, you just get to trigger draw 1. And we're doing a lot of that with the Bagra army kind of combination, so that's cool. Rookies here, we're starting off with the 4 copies of Soundbirdmon. Very good enabler of getting Digimon into your Tamer's sources. That way they are ready, especially with you. They can be used as cross fodder, basically to reduce the play cost of any Digimon that you would be playing, which will be a lot of them in the Bagra army. In addition to that, when you use that when attacking effect, you actually get to draw 1 as well, so it cycles through your hand without having to digivolve or be forced into digivolving. And the inheritables you will see very, very frequently in this deck. When an effect trashes this Digivolution card, gain a memory, so that's during your opponent's turn. Soundbirdmon is pretty much a very good enabler of the Bagra army deck and is a natural 4 of. Next, we are running 4 copies of Chuchumon. So I'm still debating whether I want Chuchumon as a 3 of or a 4 of. But for now, we're testing it at a 4 of. As you can see in the gameplay previous, it actually worked very well as it allowed me to cycle through my deck a little bit quickly. The 4 cost to hard play kind of sucks, but at the same time, you're also adding a Digimon card with Bagra Army in its traits and 1 Uamano, so you could be getting 2 hits here, similar to Blaze Memory Boost in Blue Flare, where you're getting 2 hits, which is pretty nice, with the ability to play Kiraha. That said, this and Soundbirdmon will also have the save, so on deletion they just go underneath one of your Tamers, and same inheritable as the Soundbirdmon. Next, for the rookies, we're running 3 copies of the Gazimon Memory Blocker. Very good for early game, just stop your opponents from, you know, basically gaining extra memory. Was pretty important in my Melga matchup, because every time they would play Blue Memory Boost, you can slam the Gazi and just prevent them from getting any gains, especially if you're able to put them to 1 memory. That allows you to kind of set up a little bit quicker and rush down their security a lot faster without them going into Metal Garurumon, because Metal Garurumon X is pretty much a pain in this matchup. 1 copy of the Gazimon Retaliation, just in case you really don't have much outs and you have 10 cards in trash. You can kind of just go into a Digimon with save, aka all the other level 4s with save, and then just basically retaliate into their big stack and then try to rebuild after that. We're going to the champions now. We've got 4 copies of Damemon. Damemon's a very good card because it's on play and when digivolving, which is quite rare in the deck. It's the only card I think that's also on play and when digivolving. But if you don't have a Uamano, you can play one without paying its memory cost, which is huge in the deck. And it's also the save mechanic, and its opponent's turn inheritable remains the same. You gain a memory when this inheritable, or when this card acting as a Digivolution source is trashed. So Damemon is pretty good at 4 because it allows you to free play, use as needed. You could cut him down to 3, because sometimes when I have a U and I don't have a Damemon, I end up playing the U. And then Damemon's value significantly decreases and just becomes a save Digimon, right? So it's not too bad, but you could see myself dropping Digimon to a 3 of, maybe to add like more removal or something. Next, running 4 copies of Troopmon. This is actually a very, very good card because when your opponent is playing Cool Boy, for example, they're paying 3 memory now with Cool Boy, which is very, very big. And yeah, because its opponent's turn effect, once per turn, when an opponent plays a Digimon or Tamer by trashing one of this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you gain a memory. So effectively, it'll be a 3-cost Cool Boy or a 4-cost Rookie Searcher, which is very good. And you can pretty much gain a bunch of memory here very quickly. That said, your counter will be other memory blockers, so just look out for that. And tweak your build for some removal. I did have some anti-memory blocker removal, like Deathclaw and all that, so I only run the 1 copy, but it is there, just letting you guys know. 4 copies of the Mad Leomon. So whenever your opponent adds cards to their hand by an effect, by trashing a Digivolution source from under Mad Leo, they actually get to, well, they're forced to discard the same number of cards that they drew as a result of that card effect. So very cool. Works for searchers and all that stuff, like Cool Boy, when you get to draw from Cool Boy, etc. And it's also a save Digimon, and it also has the same inheritable as all the other Bagra Army Digimon. But this is unique because it has a Digicross 2. And you're Digicrossing any Digimon with Bagra Army in its traits. So pretty much when you play Mad Leo for 3 because of the Digicross, you're immediately able to place a source underneath, making them trash cards if ever they were to use effects that add cards to their hand. So that immediate gain as early as you can is kind of good with Mad Leo. That said, it's alright. 2 copies of Loimon, hybrid for game, it remains a thing. And I have a sweet tech here that you'll see right now, actually. The 1 copy of Rihimon. So people will be trying to delete your Tamers, Black War Greymon, etc. Rihimon is actually a 1-cost to Digivolve if one of your Digimon with a Tamer in its Digivolution cards digivolves into this Digimon. You'll reduce it by 2. So I had a turn where I went into Loimon for 2 and then put my opponent to 1 with a Rihimon. And if they delete the Rihimon, I can cycle back U, which is really good. You have to be very smart with where you effectively decide to place your save Digimon or your Soundbird effect. Where you place your Digimon and which Tamer you place it under is going to matter very, very much if you're running the Loimon Rihimon suite. Because obviously if you go into Loimon with all these sources, there is a possibility that, you know, the Digimon will die, and if the Digimon dies, all those sources just get trashed, fair and simple. So you don't want that. You want to maximize how many Digimon are under your Tamers. So I would probably choose wisely. I would choose wisely. Next, we're running 3 copies of Blastmon. Very awesome because it's a great finisher. In addition to that, if you are unable to finish the match, you're actually able to defend yourself with the opponent's turn effect. So when an opponent's Digimon attacks by trashing 1 Digimon Digivolution source underneath this Digimon, you can delete a level 4 lower Digimon. So very nice. And its on-play effect is when you have 3 Digivolution sources, it actually gains Blitz. And it has Rush on play, which is really nice. So that's why having sources underneath your Tamers, placing the Digimon underneath the right Tamers, especially if you're running a semi-hybrid package, is very important because you don't want to lose the ability to Blastmon for game, nor do you want to lose the ability to be able to defend yourself by deleting level 4 lowers, preventing lethal, etc. Blastmon's been really good. I might lower him down to 2 actually, because you only need to see Blastmon once. You're pretty much champion rushing here, and then the Blastmon is either swing for game, or if you know what you're up against, you'll have a good Blastmon turn where you can just defend yourself quite well. Next, we're running 2 copies of the Tactimon. So this is a very cool card because on play, you may play up to 2 level 4 lower Digimon cards with Bagra Army and their traits from trash without paying their memory costs. And then Digimon played by this effect gain blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn. So there's another way to kind of defend yourself for 1 more turn if you really can't like secure lethal. In addition to that, during your opponent's turn, when your Digimon trashes their sources by an effect, you can trash this source instead. The source is underneath Tactimon because he's kind of useless after that on play. So the opponent's turn trashing his sources instead is more important than say Blastmon, for example, because then I'll be able to use Blastmon's opponent's turn effect by trashing Tactimon sources, and I'll just have more sources under Blastmon to continue that effect throughout the course of the game. Next, we're running 4 copies of Uamano, the star of the deck, and the reason why this deck exists and actually plays well. When a purple card is placed under this tamer, draw 1 and gain 1 memory. So it's very, very easy to kind of gain memory and draw here for each Uamano, but you have to place it underneath the tamer card specifically. Like if you have 4 U's out and you place it underneath this one guy, these 3 cannot gain a memory and draw 1. It's only per tamer. That said, having 4 is really nice because, you know, people will be deleting your tamers and you want them back. You want you out here as soon as possible, and that's one of the ways to do it. U is your primary target for placing Digimon underneath, because you're gaining that draw and gain 1 memory. So you play a bunch of other tamers. I'll show you the remaining 4 tamers that I have, where you want to go into your rookies. Your hybrid, your Rihimons and your Loimons specifically. The beauty about U as well is that he doesn't actually need to be suspended to use his effect. So his effect here is when you would play a level 4 or higher Digimon card with Bagra Army and its traits, by placing up to 3 Digimon from under your tamers underneath that played Digimon's Digivolution cards, reduce the cost by 2 for each card placed. So you can reduce the play cost of Blastmon, Tactimon by up to 6, which is very powerful because then they end up being a 7 cost to hard drop, which means that Blastmon is immediately able to swing for game with Rush and Blitz, pretty much at any point of memory that you are given. Honestly, if you're given, because you have to have 3 sources underneath, at any point in the game, as far as, memory is concerned, as long as you've got U's and 3 Digivolution sources to place from the tamers underneath the Blastmon, you can swing from game at any point in time. You can even go into Loimon, go to 0 memory, swing, and then Blastmon, trigger you, add 3 sources, Blastmon will gain Blitz and can rush Blitz for game, which is very nice. Because then that'll only be like a 7 cost, so you're still swinging for game that way. The other 2 tamers are 2 copies of Matt Ishida here. Matt is my basically cycler. I don't run Calling from Darkness because I think 2 mats is good enough to cycle what I need, and I don't really need to cycle through too much. You're seeing things as you go, you're saving things as you go, and then Rihimon can cycle back the mats in case I really, really need to get something from trash. 2 copies of this Matt Ishida. This mat is so clutch because when one of your Digimon die, they get the save mechanic, they get placed under you get to draw 1, gain 1 memory for you, and then you can suspend this mat when one of your Digimon's deleted, suspend this tamer to gain a memory, and then you're getting 2 memory now, so you're gaining 1 for this guy, 1 for you, and a draw, and you're adding a source to the Blastmon, which is very nice. This deck is pretty, as long as it doesn't brick, this deck is pretty good at choking your opponent to 1 memory and limiting their options every turn. So you want to maximize your plays every turn, and Matt helps you do that because every turn they don't have a memory tamer is every turn you can put them to 1 with this deck, and it's quite easy to do that. If you're not playing to kind of choke them out on memory, you're kind of, in my opinion, you're playing Bagra Army a little bit wrong. Anyways, 3 copies of Buzzing Fist. Again, this is another way to kind of choke your opponent out of memory because it's only 2 cost. Its errata insecurity means you just get to play Amano from your hand without paying its memory cost, which is really nice. And then you add this card to your hand. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Main effect, add 1 card with Bagra Army and its traits from among them to your hand. Trash the rest. Then you can place 1 Digimon card with Bagra Army and its traits from your trash underneath one of your tamers. So you can cycle these Digimon if they end up being trashed as a result of their their opponent's turn effects, and then place them under you again. So that'll set up Blitz Blastmon very well. My techs here are 1 copy of Purple Memboose and 1 copy of Deathclaw. Purple Memboose does come in clutch sometimes because you want to search for specific things, but I don't need more than 1 of him, so I only play the 1. Deathclaw is just the 1 of as well because most of your Digimon are quite low DP. They're going to die in your security. The Deathclaw is really just there to pop my opponent's memory blockers. or Psychmon, but apart from that, I almost don't really need him. 3 copies of Schwartz Larets, and as you saw in the game, Schwartz actually came super duper helpful for me. Deleted the only stack my opponent had for Metal Garurumon X, and with 2 Tamers, it's already quite lethal because it deletes a level 5 or lower Digimon per Tamer or hybrid you have on the field. And security just straight up activates, which is really nice. And last but not least, 2 copies of Fly Bullet. Through testing, I wanted to add the Fly Bullet. This was not previously in the build in the gameplay. I added this specifically because this deck does not have answers to level 6s. So say your opponent draws the nuts and you weren't able to keep them at 1 or 2 memory per turn, Fly Bullet will end them very quickly, and then you can kind of try to catch up as they're rebuilding, or go for the game as fast as you can as they're rebuilding. One of the good plays that you can have is if you have a Digimon in Raising, for example, with a save mechanic and a mat out and a U out, you can raise that Digimon. Say you're at 2 memory because your opponent put you to 2. One of your Digimon with a save can swing, it'll die, you place it underneath the U, you'll gain another memory going to 3 and draw 1, and then you suspend however many mats you have and gain X amount of memory. So cards like Fly Bullet, cards like Schwartz never feel too bad in the deck if you sequence your swings properly. But that's the deck profile, guys. If you liked it, thank you. If you didn't like it, let me know why. I want to know what kind of cards you're running, how you want me to play the deck, because I am finding this deck a ton of fun and I do want to get better at it and just tweak it a little bit. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.